We're going to get going. Just one other, just little housekeeping thing. Please keep your name cards pointed towards me so I can see who you are. When I transcribe this, I'll be able to know. All right, so thanks. Well, anyway, I'm Vincent Alonzo, and I'm the editor-in-chief of Successful Meetings and Incentive Magazine. And I'd like to thank you all for taking time out of your day to come here. We had done one of these back in March of 2009, right at the height of all the problems with the fallout from the AGI scandal. And we came to Las Vegas and did a leadership roundtable to talk about what was going on and the steps that Vegas was taking. And we thought, it was about time to maybe come back and do another one to just find out what the lay of the land is. So why don't we just get going? Why don't we start off with the first question? 2010 has been a turnaround year for Las Vegas, a little bit, or really has been a turnaround for Las Vegas in terms of meetings and incentives. Chris, would you like to maybe address that?
Let me see, a year after the AIG. Yes, the 2010 has been a year of recovery. Is it to any level that anybody sees as satisfactory? No. But is it plummeting like it was? No. So it's been a recovery year, a modest recovery year, and it's a heck of a lot better than what 09 looked like.
And does anybody else have anything to sort of add to that in terms of your own personal properties and what you're seeing?
Well, number one, thankfully, the President of the United States has admitted he loves Las Vegas, so I think that helps out a lot. That
Several
he
times.
does. He admitted he loves Las Vegas now, so that's much
after
better
he
news for
admitted
us.
he didn't like Las Vegas.
And I think it's a time where a lot of us have seen, slight growth, but the good news is a lot of us have seen stabilization. And I think that's one of the first things we want to see prior to having the growth that we've seen over the past 10 years, let's say, excluding the last 2.5 to 3 years. But, we've seen a lot of stabilization in future ADR from a group standpoint, increase in room nights, and we're, cautiously optimistic moving into 2011.
What we've also seen year over year is that our for the year booking pace is double what it was last year. I mean, obviously coming off of an 09 or even an 08, but what we're also seeing is going forward, we're probably 45% ahead of where we were in room nights going into the next year. Cancellations are almost non-existent. Attrition is almost non-existent. Part of that is the fact that our customers are, blocking conservatively, but we've also partnered with them to, establish rate integrity, so there's less people going around the block. So it's a much better picture than it was at the end of 08 or 09. I mean, 09 was a very painful year. Probably everybody around the table would attest to that. So I think this year there's a lot more smiles.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And I mean, the rate is nowhere near where it was in the past. It's got to be behind by probably 3, 4, 5 years. But just like Danielle said, I mean, our in the year, for the year bookings are up. I mean, our budget was only a little over 500. We're going to do over 600,000 group room nights next year. I mean, they're asking us to do 700. I got already 650 on the book. So definitely the pace, the trend has picked up much better than a year ago. In fact, if you take a look at last year and this year, I mean, instead of the remarks from the president, this year you've had some of the unique selling points of Las Vegas and our perfect climate turn out to be a big boost when you had incidents that happened to the environment, such as Opryland's flooding, and we had a lot of groups pick up. We picked up Harley-Davidson. You've had some natural disasters where nobody wants to see us benefit at the expense of that, but rather than all these cancellations, we saw just the opposite of pickup.
Okay, and has anybody else seen any pickup due to things that were going on in other parts of the country, such as the oil spill in the Gulf or the immigration problem in Arizona? Did you pick up any meetings groups as a direct result of that?
I can speak to that a little bit because we are Hispanic owned at the Tropicana. We've noticed that with not so much with the environmental impact, but with the immigration impact in Arizona, we're definitely seeing a lot more interest coming to Las Vegas, looking for the value proposition, but definitely looking to move out of that area. And a lot more questions about the kind of political climate and the way that we feel about the issue. I think it's come up much more than it used to in the past.
What about the long-term effect of the perception issue or AIG effect on the way meeting or incentive planners approach bringing a group to Las Vegas? Has there been any sort of resonance in how the meetings industry is approaching Las Vegas now in the wake of AIG?
Michael, I think you can probably speak to that because it's kind of near and dear to our heart.
Yeah, we prefer to refer to it as misperceptions about Las Vegas as a viable destination than perceptions. Now, everybody knows, anyone that's ever had a program in Las Vegas knows that we have the facilities, the staffing, everything that makes a program successful in Las Vegas. So oftentimes, our repeat customers are our best salespeople for the destination. It's the people that haven't done programs in Las Vegas or the people that are pandering to for political reasons or are just concerned with perceptions that it is not a viable destination. But I think based on experience and based on people that have had programs here before, they would tell you that it's a misperception.
To answer your question directly, we had a planner, third-party planner recently. That was a good answer.
That's a good segue.
We had a planner recently that sourced us, third party, that didn't want to have a particular name in the title of a hotel in order to accept a proposal from that particular hotel. And that is a direct effect of what the AIG has done to the industry,
You know what?
i.e. resort or
Yeah,
luxury
any hotel
or
that had the
something
word
like that.
resort in it, they wouldn't consider. Yet there were properties that might not be considered resorts by a lot of the people around the table, maybe not a 4 or 5 star property, that had the word resort in it, they wouldn't consider. Then there were other properties that don't have the resort, that are 4 and 5 star, they would consider. Semantics.
You know, the other thing I think that we're seeing is that customers they have a much clearer agenda. They know what their objectives are. And because they have to justify to their senior management, they come in and they have a sense of what the return on the investment is. So it's not as gray as it used to be. If you go through the list of good questions, you normally are getting the good answers back as opposed to them not knowing.
No problem. Vinny, I think short-term, we all agree that the cancellations after some certain comments were devastating. I think this year, what we're seeing in the business, despite a 26% increase in volume in business this year, I think the cancellations are still 3 times what they were over the norm. I think going forward, from booking pace standpoint and what have you, customers get the value that Las Vegas provides and the trajectories going forward are nothing but positive.
Mm-hmm.
There's always been, if I can real quick, there's always been 1 or 2 organizations or segments that have always had concerns or aversions, and that's just, the lack of education about the value of the meeting here. At the end of the day, though, those haven't changed necessarily, but the volume and the clip of which we were getting concern calls about maybe this isn't the right thing for shareholders, maybe this isn't the right thing for our employees right now, those are gone. Those companies are starting to come back, and it is safe to go back in the water, if you will. And we're seeing that in lead volume. We're seeing that in the quality of the customer that's starting to come back to Las Vegas. So it's very positive.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of leads come back from companies that a year or 2 ago wouldn't consider us again. So, I mean, we're starting to see it come back.
Well, I think what's happening is the customers are saying, we took that year off, and now we need to have those meetings. We have to do those incentives. We have to do those sales meetings. We have to do those product launches because just as we're here today, it's all about the one-on-one and the face-to-face meetings. You can't do it with video. It's not as interactive and it's not as productive.